that's just how it's always been. Like a true New Yorker.
I'm sure people in Staten Island will like fight tooth and nail for their island. Right?
I have a friend, and she's probably the only one. Actually, I have two, but then this one's closer. She's from Staten Island, born and raised.
Yeah.
I'm not like, it's pretty lit, but at the same time, I'm like, nah, fuck this place.
No one's defending Staten Island, not even people from Staten Island.
That's right, son. Let's go, bro.
Welcome to the Worst Asian Podcast, where a couple Asian American millennials give you our shitty opinions on all things Asian. My name is Lingjie. I'm here with my co-host, Ben.
Wow. That was like the Broadway musical edition of our intro there.
You're welcome. Every once in a while, I feel the need to sing because, we should do a karaoke recording one day. Remember, I talked about if we're like remote somewhere and we need to interview someone and we can't find like a studio, we should just rent a
karaoke room. And I was like, that is a great fucking idea.
But then when we went karaoke sometime, whenever the fuck it was the last time we went, it was actually pretty goddamn expensive. So
it was.
So next time we have to be remote somewhere and we have to record a podcast, we'll just record it at the park.
Yes, that's what we'll do. We're just gonna have like a nice little bubble in a tent. Let's just pitch a tent.
You don't even need to pitch a tent. You just need like 2 foldable collapsible chairs, the mics, and a tripod with the camera. That's all you need.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm so confident in my post editing. I think I can take out all the airplane noises, the whatever's.
Yeah. As long as we're not near like a park or like a children's playground.
We're at you mean like a playground park? Yeah. I was like, dude, we're at the park recording. Would you guys actually like to see this like remote record? Not even with a guest, like just Ben and I, let's say in my backyard.
Yeah, or like we're in like the frozen section of like H Mart.
Or in my pool.
Oh yeah, that'd be cool.
I don't know how.
And when we just like drop all of the equipment into the water. I was like, oh great. Well, thank you for fucking us over, guys.
That's the official end of the podcast. That's the only way this podcast is getting canceled by salt water and chlorine.
Yeah, and it's like, you guys actually agreed to this too. It's like, oh yeah, you're right. We did. We're dumb.
I shouldn't put that on a poll because I bet you if I put that as a poll on social media, they're going to vote yes.
It's like, do it in a poll. Do it.
Okay, I just want to give a quick shout out to people that leave some feedback on Apple.
Uh-huh.
Apple Podcasts. Just remember, if you like the podcast, you want to show some support, the best and free way to do it is just to leave us a 5-star review.
Show us some love.
Recently, we got a comment on our Apple feedback thingamabob. Chill and relatable. Had to subscribe and rate 5 stars out of the sheer... God, let me finish. To subscribe and rate 5 stars out of the sheer respect for Lingjie's patience.
Wow. That's why you said, let me finish. This motherfucker.
Fun podcast, guys, and great dynamic. Thank you to whoever wrote that. We appreciate it. Like I said, if you guys want to leave us, if you want to help the algorithm, leave us some 5-star review. Ben, I was going to tell you that you need to project, but I'm glad that this pissed you off enough. Please make sure you talk louder to the mic. Thank you.
I was just going to say how, of course, this jackass picks the one comment that highlights Lingjie. Not even like, and like, it's funny how I cut off right there and he's like, oh, no, let me finish. It's not even gotten to a good part. That's what you're trying to say right there. That's you.
Fun podcast, great dynamic, guys. That is a compliment towards you. That's a 50% compliment.
This guy said 50-50.
The other part of it was strictly for me. That part I get.
Yes. There you go. Shout out to whoever that person is.
We really appreciate it.
That was all factual.
That is actually very true.
Yes.
Great dynamic. Fun podcast. I have a lot of patience.
I was going to say, don't say the third part.
I have a lot of patience.
Oh my God.
So much fucking patience. I am a goddamn saint.
I have the greatest patience in the world.
So much patience.
I have the best patience.
When you did your Trump impersonation, which comic do you imitate doing Trump? Because you know how when people do their fake Trump things, they always think of a certain like comic. When I think of it, I think of Trevor Noah, and that's what I try to do.
Oh, that's so weird. I was just going to say, I think the most similar was Trevor Noah. I was just thinking Trevor Noah.
His is probably not the closest one.
It's not.
But I think it's the most unique and fun one that he does.
It's enough. It's enough to, you get the point of it.
Yeah. It's exaggerated a little bit for entertainment, obviously.
Yeah, Shane Gillis. I don't know if you know Shane Gillis. Amazing stand-up comedian. His Trump is hilarious. Is
it on point realistic or is it just funny version of it?
It sounds really good. It sounds like something Trump would say. It's amazing. I'm just thinking about, he'd be like, blacks are okay. I'm like, what the fuck? You guys say that? Jamie Foxx. I'm like, what? It's so random. But Shane Gillis, what's it? Funny dude, man. Funny guy. Great Trump cadence, I gotta say.
Ben, you just came back from vacation in
I did.
The great country of Miami.
Yes, I didn't know Miami was a country, but sure, yeah.
How was your international flight to Miami?
It was wonderful. I feel like I've really, really connected with my Spanish heritage. My Miami blood is stronger than ever.
Is it?
There's a lot of Cubans. I forgot. There's a lot of Cubanos and Cubanas.
Yeah, of course.
Yes,
obviously, dude.
I forgot. You
Yeah.
know,
You went there for a bachelor party, right?
I went for a bachelor party.
No
Great people.
No strippers involved.
No, never.
Fake news.
Yeah, fake news. Yeah, great strippers.
You just said
The best. Listen, weather was great, thank God. If you listen to our past episode, you hear about how I was just complaining about don't fly Spirit, but you'll find out why exactly. And if
or you already found out why.
Yeah, but if you're not from here, yeah, I don't know if Spirit is international. Just don't ever go near Spirit, please.
I don't think their fleet of airplanes can cross the ocean.
They only have like 8. They only have 8 of them, and it's just like on constant rotation.
Yeah, it doesn't work. It's overworked.
Yeah,
a few planes are overworked. What is Miami like though? Because I've been to Florida, obviously, for Orlando, Daytona, but I've actually never been to Miami. What's Miami like?
It's like
is it a party city?
It's a party city.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
It's like Mykonos, or it's like
party in Mykonos. Woo.
Party in Miami.
Yeah, Miami. I love Miami. It's a party scene. That's what it is.
Yeah. Who chose to go there? You or the other bachelor?
I gave him options. It was for my cousin. I gave him ideas.
Niagara Falls.
Yes.
Elmhurst, Queens.
Yes, Jackson Heights.
Jackson Heights,
Queens.
Miami.
Or Miami. And he was like, I don't know, Great Lakes? I was like, yeah, maybe the Great Lakes. Grand Canyon?
Lakes? What's the Great Lakes?
Great Lakes, it's by Michigan.
Dude.
Oh, I was like, wait, are you fucking with me?
Don't go to the Grand Canyon. I have to go on a bachelor party soon, and we're actually trying to plan to go to like the southwest, like the canyons and stuff, do all the hikes, which is like the opposite of your kind of bachelor party because
I have done one of those though. I've had one bachelor party where I was involved in
Joshua Tree, right?
Joshua Tree.
Yeah.
It was the worst.
Yeah. Was it the worst?
No strippers. The worst.
The trees refused to take off their bark.
I threw singles. Nothing happened.
Okay.
It was just
all right,
terrible.
guys. Sorry. No more Trump impersonations. No more.
But the reason why it was bad is because the Airbnb we had for that one was there was no internet. There was no running water. Like we couldn't really shower. I don't think I showered at all. And it's in the middle of the desert.
You're talking about Joshua Tree,
not Miami.
I'm talking about. I was like, Miami cannot have somewhere where there's no running water.
Miami was great. I love how we keep calling Miami.
Yeah, but guys, you know we're saying Miami, right? There's gonna be
yes, we're saying Miami.
There's gonna be one person that's doing like a house tour right now and like half paying attention and like half their brain is like, oh, I want to visit Miami. Where's that?
Where's this meow? Where's this shit? But yeah, Miami, it's expensive. So that's the only thing about Miami. Everything you do in Miami is very expensive.
Is it more expensive than like going to Manhattan here in the city?
It's comparable, I would say. I have one ranting and raving, which is more like a rave, which I'll say, which is kind of preluding to this. But yeah, Miami is expensive.
It is expensive. I mean, you can just tell by the fact that it has these like glamorous, the clubs and lounges. Yeah, it's like going to Vegas is expensive too.
Yes, yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
I probably am not going to plan a family trip there anytime soon.
Dude, I would actually advocate like, yo, you are not allowed to do that. I don't think
there's nothing child friendly.
There are. It's just there's no point. You might as well just do what like other parts of Florida.
Yes, exactly.
You know, like you said, like Orlando especially.
Of course, for the theme parks and everything. Or there's other parts of the country where if you want to go for a quick local trip.
Don't go to Tampa. Just heads up.
Really? What's wrong with Tampa?
Tampa is becoming a very big like party scene area where it's more like a college party scene area.
Oh, so it's like cheap Miami.
Yeah, so it's like people that ratchet.
So people that can't afford Miami just go to like Tampa.
I'll put it this way: it's like a party scene, but like instead of like people like around my age or a little younger or older, right? A good dynamic. You're gonna have like a lot of young college kids.
Okay, I can't
That's the best way to put it. Exactly.
I can't deal with college kids.
You're gonna be like, there's some dumbass you're gonna deal with. You might throw up on your shirt, your favorite shirt. So don't do it.
It's like when I go to Manhattan in the city here.
And depends where you go. Yep.
Depending on which area you go to, you can tell what type of tourist you go there. Obviously, if you go to Times Square, you get the very touristy international tenants.
Yeah, which isn't too bad.
Not tenants, tourists.
Yeah.
That's not too bad because I think people that go there, they're usually like families and everything.
Exactly.
So it's not too bad.
I would say, if anything, the tourist attractions are more annoying than actual tourists.
Yes. If you as a local try to go to a tourist thing, it's crazy. Yo, as a local New Yorker, I've never been to some of these things. I've never been to the Statue of Liberty.
I don't think I've been to it either. I do remember that time. I think the closest was when we ran the 10K.
Because you saw it inside.
That was the closest,
you
bro.
were one ocean body away, one water body away from it.
Yeah, I think that was it, man. That was the closest time, I think. For me personally.
Okay, this is a great segue because today what we're going to be talking about is what it is like to be an Asian American in New York City.
Whoa, Sex and the City edition.
I found through talking with a lot of our listeners that there is a good handful of people that listen to the podcast and actually are expats of New York that kind of like want that New York City. You know, like when you move out somewhere and you miss it and you're homesick for it, you kind of like need something. And somehow this podcast provides a little bit of that for them.
Oh, shit.
Which is a bit strange. I mean, I'm very thankful, obviously.
Right. Very, very grateful. Yes.
But I guess you and I seem like we represent New York, or maybe just specifically Queens, New York a lot. I don't know. Because our brash, arrogant nature probably would not fit in like some middle of the country town. Do you know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, I see what you mean.
The vibes that we come off on the podcast fit well because we're in New York City, we're in Flushing, we're in Queens, we're like New Yorkers.
Yeah.
It's just us being us.
Yes. We're an acquired taste. We might be
we're an acquired taste.
I would think the only thing that's appreciative of New Yorkers is that we're very straightforward and we just tell you how it is.
Yes, lots of candor.
Yes, a lot of candor, a lot of brash candor, I say.
Yes,
that's the best way of putting it.
But that is me.
I mean, I think that's just in New York in general. You take the cake. You take the moon cake. How about that? You take the fucking moon cake, bro.
So let's talk about what it's like to actually be a New Yorker let's just talk about what it is like to be an Asian American in New York City. I think growing up here in Queens specifically, or just I guess in New York overall, we're a bit spoiled with our exposure to other Asian people.
Yeah, I have to agree. I think a lot of the things that we got to experience, we kind of just had a lot of benefits in a way.
Yeah, unknown benefits. That's the thing.
Yeah.
It's like the grass is always greener on the other side, but if you're not aware of it, maybe this is the wrong way to use the saying, but when you're not aware of something or you're not aware of what is not the norm, then you don't get to appreciate what you have.
Yeah, I think so. I think so too, because considering in our age, when we were growing up in Flushing, I remember being specific too, my neighbors were predominantly like Greek, Polish, Italians.
Yeah.
A lot of the small businesses, the mom and pop shops, the brick and mortars were not of Asian influence.
Nope.
There was a lot more Italian restaurants. I remember a lot of pizzerias.
A lot
more diners. That's the one thing I do miss. The diners.
Diners. Oh my God. Sorry. This is going to get very local for a sec, this tangent, but you know the diner that's across the street from Flushing Hospital? The one that we...
yeah, dude. Fuck yeah, the corner one.
I went there recently with my wife.
Oh, shit, okay.
I'll show you pictures later.
It's still there.
It looks exactly the same inside.
Oh, thank God.
It has the same like stained glass bar cheers, kind of like lights fixtures.
Yeah.
It's got that same like beige
the benches.
And the benches.
Yeah.
Nothing in that has changed. Nothing. It's like a fucking time capsule.
Thank God.
And they're still open. We were the only customers though, but it was still open.
There was never a day we went in. There was like a line or it was busy.
It was never busy when we were kids.
Empty.
And when I went now in 2023, it was not busy again.
Oh man, that's good. I thought you were going to scare me for a second.
Dude, do you remember the cook? The like Greek Polish guy?
No, I don't.
The Greek or Polish guy that was in the back?
Oh.
He's still the cook.
Oh, so you remember this guy? That's like...
I remember the guy that cooked all the food.
That's like 15 years.
He's still the guy because it used to be that one cook. I think he was probably the owner. And then there was like... There was a constant like rotating cast of waiters and waitresses because it used to just be maybe two people in the restaurant at most, that diner at most.
Yeah.
The waiter or waitress and the actual cook.
Yeah.
So that cook is still there.
Wow.
And the waiter is different.
Don't you miss that like old Americana thing? And that's the thing about Queens. It was at one point I think there was a good mixture of like old Americana with the new Asian influence.
Yes.
Now it's predominantly Asian, which isn't a bad thing. But I think us growing up, you know, like for example, like you won't meet a lot of people that even enjoy the sport of baseball. That's a very American thing. But me and Lingjie, actually, one of the things that we have in common is that we have a love of baseball.
Yeah.
Lingjie is a Mets fan. I am a Yankees fan. But just because of the fact that we grew up liking baseball, we even played baseball together. It just shows you like how you don't really see that anymore.
Dude.
What's
sorry.
up? No.
Side tangents. If you guys hate side tangents, I'm really sorry.
I think they love that part.
But I think because we're talking about like growing up in New York, there's a lot of these random memories that are going to come to mind.
Yeah.
Do you remember when in junior high school graduation, I got hit in the eye with a baseball?
Yeah.
Like 2 days before graduation.
Yeah, I do remember this shit.
Holy shit. Dude, when you're a kid, you're not smart enough to realize that when you play catcher, you should really have a face mask or a catcher's mask because sometimes when the batter foul tips the ball, it flies directly back into your eye.
Yeah, so it's crazy how reckless we're as kids. I think we're the last generation where kids were really reckless. Like we wrestled, we probably destroyed a lot of property. We broke, plenty of bones, and we just experimented more, right? I think that's safe to say. So Lingjie is right.
That time specifically, I got a black eye from a baseball.
Yeah, you did.
The week of graduation, I actually had to borrow some concealer from my girlfriend at the time.
Yes, I do remember this.
I put the concealer on my eye. Yo, it did a really good job.
That was a crazy thing. So, paint the picture.
It hit it so well.
It was me, Lingjie, and our famous CTO friend.
Was it?
It was him batting.
Oh, it's him batting?
Dude, he's the one that fouled.
You were pitching.
So I was pitching. And I remember me, the CTO, we kept arguing because we felt so bad. We thought you died. So this is what happened. So, I'm lefty. I'm throwing straight heat. Lingjie's a really good catcher, actually. Lingjie is a really, really good catcher. He could have been like the Chinese Mike Piazza minus like the 500 home runs.
And the steroids.
Yes, that and the goatee. But as a catcher, Lingjie was solid, man. Like defensively, this guy brought it. But the thing is, I think Lingjie had no equipment. The only equipment
we didn't have any equipment. We had gloves. We had a bat and like one ball.
We had 2 gloves, maybe 3 baseballs, one that worked. And these were real baseballs, though.
How does a baseball not work, Ben?
It might be torn up. That's what I'm saying. Like the stitching or some shit.
Fine.
So the thing is that if anyone played baseball, I know people call it a boring sport, but if you actually grabbed a baseball and you were in a batter's spot, it is actually very, very terrifying. It's pretty scary. It's like, oh shit, you need some balls to, possibly get hit.
Yeah.
So Lingjie is the catcher, mind you. And if you've seen a catcher, they look like they're wearing like fucking armor, a body armor, which they are. They have to. They must.
Specifically, they have a catcher's mask.
That's the most important. So I'm pitching. Mind you, I have the best view of this whole thing. So I'm like, all right. So I throw it. It was just a normal pitch, right? Nothing's supposed to be crazy. And for some reason, our CTO, shout out to you, but this was your fault, dude.
He didn't even swing.
He didn't swing. He fucking. And I think that's why you caught you off guard, because he kind of just like put his bat forward.
He jabbed at it.
Yeah, he just bunt. It was like not even a bunt.
It was a
People
shitty.
don't even know what that meant. Pretty much, he did not swing.
Yes,
he
jabbed at the baseball
out of nowhere. It just nicked the baseball just enough off his bat that it threw off the angle. Lingjie had the glove placement perfectly. It was like I remember, like you had it.
Ben's picturing this.
I remember you had it, but then that split second, the baseball nicks the bat and goes right into Lingjie's eye. Like, it was so gross because it fit his eye socket perfectly. And he's just like, it looked like Lingjie got shot in the face. I swear to God.
Because just imagine me like squatting down.
It was like, oh.
And then I get hit and I just like fall backwards.
He just fell. And I was like, oh my God, Lingjie's eyeball exploded. I swear to God, he's going to wear an eye patch forever for the rest of his life. I didn't know what to expect. All I just knew was like, oh shit. We were young at the time. We were in middle school. Me and my CTO, our CTO, we just kept arguing the whole day, I remember. I remember when we got to Lingjie. I don't know if you remember this. Lingjie's on the floor now. His feet are on the floor. He has his one hand covering his eye. He's like, he was just trying to make sense of the whole situation. He's like in shock. He's like, I'm good. I was like, and we wanted to see the eye. We're like, yo, does he have an eye? We're like looking at the baseball. Is there blood? Like, we're looking for blood. Like, nothing. But it was 2 days before graduation. We had to take pictures. That was the main thing. That's the thing we were worried about. I don't know how, but this might be the only time where like me and Lingjie got our first experience with God.
With God?
Yeah. Because dude, I thought your eye should have been, you should have been a pufferfish. I don't know. You should have looked like a boondoggle. Your eye should have exploded. I don't know how it did not. But the woman you were seeing at the time, she had concealer, like you said.
Yeah. So I borrowed it from her, and I concealed my eyes.
I can't believe it, but I remember when me and CTO we saw Lingjie. We're like, holy shit!
The morning of,
it looked like nothing happened to this guy. I was like,
yo, concealer works.
We're like, yeah. Ever since then, I'm like, I always wanted to try concealer. I was like, if I ever need to use concealer, that's the reason why I'm gonna say it. It was crazy.
It's crazy that she had the exact skin tone.
That's what it was.
Because concealers come in different shades.
Tones, yes.
In different shades. You have to really get the one that matches you. But the one I had,
like my ex was black. If she was a black girl, I'll be like, maybe this doesn't match me.
It just makes your black eye look even more black.
Yeah. But
and I put it on myself. So I just took it in the morning. I put it on myself that morning. So I have a natural skill for makeup, I guess.
Yeah. There you go.
How the fuck did we get here? You love baseball. I love baseball.
Pretty much we're talking about how
Queens has a lot of
Queens is the perfect example of old school Americana. What it means to be not just a New Yorker, but even American.
Yo, it's crazy because people sometimes forget that Flushing, Queens, we have a whole baseball team. We have the Mets here.
Yeah.
Like the Mets Stadium is here. We have the US Open that happens every single year.
Fucking crazy.
The US Open is one of 4 Grand Slams in the sport of tennis. That's 4. So it's like the 4 championships in tennis in the whole world.
Yes.
And one of them is in fucking Flushing.
Yeah, it's so random if you think about it.
Technically,
What's up?
the Jets should have moved here also to Flushing. Remember back then before they...
Holy shit, I don't remember this. I actually don't remember that
When
at
they
all.
were talking about building a new stadium, they were going to build a stadium in the same area as well.
Yes,
Willis Point. So technically, we should have had a full-fledged football team as well.
This is crazy because like back then, before Citi Field for the Mets, it was called Shea Stadium.
I love Shea Stadium. I have a special place in my heart for that place.
Which was great about Shea Stadium was the retro design of the stadium. You know, there's that catcher with the neon, and
Dude, it's not
great.
retro. It's just old and it aged, and then it became retro.
And then it became retro.
It became retro.
Yeah.
It's like this diner across from Flushing Hospital that we talked about.
Yeah.
That became retro, but back in the day, it was modern.
It was normal. That was the normal. You're right. Shea Stadium, and then they eventually built Citi Field.
Citi Field is a great ballpark, though. It's really family
nice.
friendly. It looks visually nice.
It is really nice.
Am I wrong to say that I think Citi Field as a stadium is better than the new Yankee Stadium?
Yankee Stadium is pretty dope, though.
No, it's good, but I'm saying as an overall experience, if you're there not for the baseball, not for the losing or winning teams, but just as an overall experience,
yeah.
I think Citi Field is better.
So this is the best thing I could say. I do enjoy going to Mets games more than Yankees games, even though I am a Yankee fan.
Because you like watching the Mets lose?
No, not even that. It's just when you go to a Mets game, it just feels more family oriented. It's a lot more relaxed. Where when you go to a Yankees game, you feel like you play for the Yankees. You're like, I remember I went to one game. Randy Johnson was pitching at the time.
Yeah.
Hideki Matsui was still on the roster. And I swear to God, almost every fan had their own fucking box score. I feel like everyone had their own radar gun. I'm like, what the fuck are you guys doing?
They're all about baseball scouts.
Yeah, I'm like, I didn't know everyone had to work for the Yankees to be a Yankee fan here. Yeah, so it was, and they're just a lot more aggressive.
They are. It's crazy.
Because they want to win. Every time you go to a Yankees, it's like, I have to win. Where a Mets game is like, win or lose. Hey!
You know why? Because we're used to losing, so no one's expecting too much out of it, too.
Yeah. And you know what? You guys have Shake Shack. I will give you that.
Yes, we have a Shake Shack that's built into Citi Field. That is the, before Shake Shack got so big, before they had much more locations, it used to really just be, there's a couple of locations in the city, and then the one random one was in Citi Field. So sometimes if you want the Shake Shack, the closest one would actually go to the baseball game.
It was one of the very first OG Shake Shacks.
Yeah, it was one of the first few, like before they expanded and they went international and everything.
Yeah. So like tying into the first question that you asked, yeah, I think we are very privileged.
Very, very privileged. If you guys have not been to New York City and specifically Queens and overall, because it makes it sound like we have this is a love letter to Flushing.
Yeah.
I would say Queens overall is the fucking best borough in this entire thing. I was just going to say. Because here's the thing. How would you describe the 5 boroughs of New York City?
Perfect. Let's do this.
Brooklyn.
It's not Brooklyn anymore.
Hipster free for all.
Gentrified, yeah. Staten Island.
That's not real New York.
It's not. Too far, right?
The Bronx.
Too fucking dangerous. Let's be fucking real. If people from the Bronx, they're like, yeah, the Bronx is dangerous. They're proud of it. I'm like, bro, that's not something to be proud of anymore. But that's the Bronx. That's like
Manhattan. 1%ers and tourists. That's it.
Yeah,
that's all it is. 1%ers and tourists.
That's it. Yeah, like there's nothing authentically New York about Manhattan anymore. It seems like there's a smidge. But even like St. Mark's, right?
Yeah.
St. Mark's was very back then in the day, like very New York. It was like punk rock. You go there for tattoos. There was a good diversity of like food, Japanese. It
used to be the closest thing that we had to a Japantown here in New York.
Yeah, you're right.
Was at St. Mark's in Manhattan. And now we have no Japantown, which I find absolutely crazy that in this large city in all the 5 boroughs that the Japanese population, either they're all hiding somewhere or there is not actually a lot.
Like, I know that Sunnyside has like a good Japanese population, but that's not good solid. Exactly.
It's a good population relative to the other places. You remember like in junior high school, there was one Japanese girl, and I can specifically remember her because she was the only Japanese girl in junior high school. And my wife is going to think something weird. It's not that. I just remember it was like, oh, you're Japanese. I've never met a Japanese person at that point in my life.
Yeah.
Until I met her. I was like, that's weird. There's no Japanese people anywhere in Queens.
I didn't even know we had. this unattractive Japanese.
Super unattractive.
Yes, yeah. Oh god, the person I was terrible.
I wanted to throw a baseball in her face. That's how.
She should put it in our catcher. God.
So I was saying like Queens itself is a much better, in my opinion, very biased, super biased.
Yeah.
I will wave this flag. I am from Flushing, Queens.
We will fight to the death for this one.
We will, but we will also acknowledge the fact that we are very, very biased for that.
Yeah.
Okay. Manhattan, I would say it's like its own kind of creature almost because it's what people think of New York when they think of New York City. But at the same time, it's like its own little thing. It's technically an island, but it's also like a cultural island too because it's so different than the other parts of
when
New
you
York.
talk about, is New York City the best city in the world? It's still by far, it is the best city in all of, the world. I know people try to make a comparison to it, maybe eventually along the line, but you really couldn't find anything in New York City, anything to do. The food especially. It's just
food. Holy crap! The food, the minority communities, like the little niches, like the little groups everywhere, wherever you are from around the world.
Yeah,
I'm not just talking about Queens. I'm just talking about like the 5 boroughs. Wherever you are around the world, you will find your people there, and you will have a relatively good time assimilating to this country if you move to New York.
Yeah,
I'm sorry about the prices though, because maybe that's the other big elephant in the room.
That is
the prices. New York City is pricing out a lot of people.
That's a good way of putting it. Yeah, pricing out. That's a good way of putting it. I
can't tell if it's because we're older now, so we're aware of it, or if that's actually becoming a bigger and bigger problem.
No, I think it's becoming a lot more prevalent where people know they just can't afford it anymore. Sometimes I get really surprised of how some people afford things. I'm like, oh, you're low-key rich. I remember I was at this...
You're low-key rich and you have like a 300 square foot apartment in Williamsburg.
But that's
rich.
You made it.
You made it.
Because you have to make a certain figure amount to just keep up that lifestyle. Yeah. Unfortunately. I remember I was recently at someone's house and she had a great apartment and it was just, she lived by herself. It was beautiful. I was like, how do you afford all this? I found out pretty much like she's like a kind of like well-known poet, I guess, or
poet.
Yeah, that I was just like, oh shit,
yo, sorry,
that's still a thing.
Sorry if you're a listener and you're a poet, but poet and financially stable do not mix together.
Exactly,
I do not picture those two things.
It's harder than being a starving artist. I mean, poetry is an art.
It's an art.
But yeah, I was surprised she does well enough that she had some of her stuff published. So I was just like, I felt stupid as hell. I was like, wow, this is like a whole new world. I did not understand. I mean, kudos to her.
Why are these people dating you?
I don't know.
Why are smart, well-achieving people dating you?
I don't know,
dude. It's like we get a lot of us.
Wow, this guy, Lingjie's
guys. I am a happily married man, so maybe this is why Ben gets a lot of the thirsty listeners because they know that he is single.
First of all, she did not know I do this, sir.
No,
I know.
She's not a listener, but I'm trying to say like we get a lot of thirsty messages for Ben.
Yeah, this is weird.
Ben is single. To me, he's not attractive.
Dude, these videos prove it for me personally.
But he is a acquired taste.
Wow. This sounds like you're describing durian.
I was literally about to say Ben is the durian of people. It's like
dating.
Once you are used to it, it's delicious.
Oh God, that's terrible.
Anyways, not the point that we get here. So like
America, New York City, Asian.
It's being priced out. When we look at Flushing, Queens, right here, right?
Oh, yeah.
I feel like there used to be a lot of like lower income minority people here in Flushing, Queens, and there still is. There still really is. There's still a lot of people that's just making the bare minimum to survive here.
Yes.
And they're staying in Flushing, Queens because they have a community around them that makes assimilating a lot easier. That is a big reason to it. So they're willing to deal with the prices of things over here just to be able to have that. But it feels like when we were younger, it wasn't as expensive. Just look around Flushing. There's all these new condos being built up.
Constantly, dude. Constantly.
And they're so expensive, and most people can't afford that. So to me, I'm like, where are all these buyers coming from?
Hey, man, if it's anything, every time I tell people I live in Flushing, they're like, oh, Ben's rich. I'm like, no. I just haven't lived there long enough that we kind of circumvented the system. But so we have all these buildings surrounding us at this point.
Yo, it's like the movie Up when the like when the
old man in the beginning, yes,
he won't give up his house,
yes,
and all these giant skyscrapers are being like erected around him.
Yep,
that's Ben.
That's literally me. Like it's gone to a point like my apartment at the time had a pretty good view of the skyline of Manhattan over the years, over what 20 plus years maybe at this point now, that has vanished.
What's your view now? Like the back of two condos?
Yes, that's pretty much it. It's like I'm watching like the person's living room across from me now. It's yeah, that was the one thing I noticed. I was like, wow, I have really good I don't even know what to call it. Good courtside seats. That's the best way I say it, you know?
I don't know. It's like more tall people are sitting in the front rows.
It's like I'm being forced to sit on the floor of the courtside seats now. That's what it feels like. Lay on the ground and watch the game from there. It's still a great view. I still love it, but like you said, being priced out, it's happening rapidly.
Yeah, but that doesn't stop all the other Asian people and all the other minority groups from still coming into like New York and specifically Queens, because Queens has different pockets that are more affordable than most immigrants don't really come to New York City and move to Manhattan. You don't do that, right?
Yeah, not anymore. Maybe unless like you can really afford it. Like I'm going to NYU, so I'm going to dorm. You know, I know a lot of like people like back then that tried that.
Yeah, that makes sense because you have to be close to your school. But if you're bringing like your family over nowadays in this time, in this decade, you're really not moving into Manhattan City. I say Manhattan City because it feels like a city.
Yeah.
You're really not moving there. You're moving more to the other boroughs.
Yeah.
And like
even Jersey.
Not even a Brooklyn anymore.
No.
The parts of Brooklyn, especially like the northwest parts that are much closer to Manhattan, all those little pockets of towns like Williamsburg, Dumbo, unless you've lived there a long time already and you've already established there, you're not really moving there to establish new roots.
Wow, it's crazy that you mentioned Dumbo. I forgot. Dumbo is like a great example of just like gentrifying.
Yeah.
It's just fucking up the wazoo. I remember when they were first being built, I'm like, oh shit, this is going to be expensive as fuck. That's all I kept thinking. And then they have that one hotel.
Yeah.
Holy shit. If you ever got to visit the rooftop, I think fucking when I went there once, right? It was a random day. They like Chris Hemsworth just left.
Chris Hemsworth? Thor?
Thor. Yeah.
Thor.
He just fucking happened to be just there. I was like, is he still here? He just left. I was like, oh wow, where was he sitting? I was like, all right, I want that.
You're going to go smell his ass.
Yeah,
smell the sweat from his ass.
Yes. I was like, oh, Odin's son's ass. Give me the power if I am worthy. But yeah, I just remember thinking like, damn, the Brooklyn everywhere, Dumbo Park is beautiful, but I can't live there.
Yeah,
I just go there just to walk around. But, oh, so this is what it feels like. Oh, this is rich people land. Cool. And then you just leave.
I feel like walking around certain parts of Queens, it feels a lot more homey than going to like these new skyscraper cities.
Yeah,
I say that
skyscraper cities. I like that. Yeah, it's a good way of putting it.
I say this as like there are more and more high rises being built in Flushing, which is kind of like it's slowly giving that vibe. Do you think it counts as gentrification if other Asian people come into Flushing, build it up, and now it's just rich Asian people and they're pushing away the lower income people? Do you think that counts as like the same?
It's the same shit, yeah.
There may be a better word for it, but it feels like the same kind of vibe.
Asian-gentrification.
Asian-gentrification?
Yes.
It's rich Asian-gentrification, just pushing away low-income Asians.
I think Flushing is the best example where you're going to see, you know, affluent Asian people from maybe out of seas coming in, dumping their money in, and they like living there, you know? So that's kind of what it is. Like, I've never seen so many fucking G-Wagons in Flushing. It's like, I see a Toyota Camry. I see a 2009 RAV4.
Yo, shout out to my still going strong 2009 Toyota RAV4.
Gang. And then all of a sudden it's like G-Wagon. And every time you look inside the G-Wagon, they're young as fuck.
Yo, it's like a young, I'm pretty sure they're Chinese because I can tell. It's like a young Chinese foreigner.
I don't want to say it, but yeah, I'm like, yeah, that's some Hong Kong fucking money right there, bro. I don't know where they're from. I mean, I know they're probably Chinese, but it's crazy now when you look at the map. It actually says Chinatown or Koreatown on Google. It never used to say that for Flushing.
Right. I think we said this a couple times in the past, but
it still blows my mind. I'm
Flushing
like,
was just Flushing to us. Flushing was never a Chinatown.
No, it wasn't, man. Shout out to one of the diners we're talking about, Kane's Diner.
Kane's Diner. You know? That's gone. That's now a nice apartment building.
Oh, is it?
I actually looked at some of the units there. I'm like, oh, this actually seems relatively affordable, and it comes with parking.
The food was affordable. They had fucking steak and eggs there. We talked about it last time.
They were 24-hour dining. You barely find 24-hour diners anymore.
Yeah, dude.
We used to go there because the steak and eggs were, get this, $7.99.
Yeah. And it was skirt steak.
$7.99. Skirt steak is so expensive now.
Yeah.
Sometimes it was a flank steak. I think the steak itself just changed from week to week.
Yeah.
I think it was whatever cut was cheapest that week.
Yeah.
But when you're paying $7.99 for a steak and eggs.
The eggs are great.
It was 3 eggs. It was not just 2 eggs. It was fucking 3 eggs.
You get toast.
Yo, think about this, guys. You know how expensive eggs are, right?
Yeah.
They're fucking 3 eggs and a random piece of meat. I don't care what part of the cow it's from. It's steak and eggs.
Yeah.
For $7.99. And you got like
vegetables too. The vegetables were really good too. I don't know why.
It was like steamed vegetables or something.
No, it was like fresh though. It tasted fresh. Yeah, I just remember I was like, Even the vegetables here are fucking.
And that place was 24 hours.
Yeah.
Oh
the
my
menu
God.
was great too.
And then they eventually they sold the property because permits allowed that exact property to build a high-rise apartment building.
Of course.
Not a high-rise. I think it's only like 7, 8 floors or something, but whatever.
Oh, that doesn't count as a high-rise.
Doesn't count high-rise?
I don't know.
Whatever. It's a large condo, right?
Yeah.
It used to be just a single-level individual diner on that property with a large parking lot surrounding it.
The parking was great too, yeah. We could just chill in the parking lot for a little bit afterwards. Damn, man. Kane's Diner, shout out to them. They had a great menu where you opened it. Shout out to whoever designed it. I'm assuming it was the parents.
Oh, fuck, the menu, yes.
They had all these cutouts of like celebrities on it. And then like there was named after certain celebrities.
Guys.
But it was so interesting. You could never get sick of reading. I wish I had one.
You know, in movies when there's a hostage notice?
Yes.
And they cut out like the letters.
Yes.
They cut out the letters and they try to make a hostage note. This menu
newsletters.
This looked like a random cutout thing. It was so
bizarre.
Cool.
Yeah,
it was weird, but it was so cool. And like that was the whole menu.
It was just a quirky diner that had great food. The service was solid. Yeah. It was 24/7. Great parking. There was so many good things about it.
This episode is supposed to be about what it's like to live in.
Why Asians love diners. That's why do we love diners?
Okay, we talked about how great it is to grow up around other Asian people. Do you think there's a negative about growing up with other Asian people in New York? Because obviously there is benefits, right? You feel like you belong. That's the biggest thing about growing up in Flushing and Queens and other minority ethnicity neighborhoods in New York, which you get the choice to. But is there a negative to growing up around people that look just like you?
Do you want to go first or?
Like you said, we got a little bit 50-50 because we did grow up around a lot of Polish, Greek, Italian people.
Even our elementary school
during that
was very diverse.
Flushing when we were kids was not as Asian as it is now, so we got a good exposure of that.
Yeah.
Now that it's become more Asian, we're comfortable with it as well. But we didn't like get thrown into a super Asian Flushing. Maybe kids that move to Flushing now get thrown into a super Asian Flushing. You're with your own culture. You feel at home. There's the plus sides of that, but it's always good to learn about other people's cultures.
Yep.
And you can't really do that if you hang out and predominantly are just in a school with just people that look just like you.
I think us growing up, we were the first to experience, like, I want to say a perfect balance of
it
just
really
diversity.
Was, right? It really, really was.
For a record, me and Lingjie, we went to the same elementary school. That's how we first met. But even our elementary school, I have the best memories when it came to just the music, like when we did chorus. All of our teachers that we had for each grade, they were like genuinely great teachers that were like old white ladies, but they were legit great teachers.
Yeah.
You know, like we learned how to do cursive, the Pledge of Allegiance, you know.
And our classmates, yes, it was a good chunk of Asian people, but we
learned about different cultures too.
Right. Majority, it was not Asian.
Yeah, we even had, for example, we talked about the Three Perfect Stones, right? That was a Holocaust survivor. We actually got to meet her and, you know, we got exposed to that. You know what I mean? Like, it has nothing to do with our history and our culture.
Right. Even just going to like the playground and playing with other people. It wasn't just a bunch of Chinese or Korean kids. It was a bunch of kids from all ethnicities, backgrounds, neighborhoods, everything like that.
Yeah, and because we got exposed to that, we just learned, like, you know, the humanity of, everyone fucking struggles. It doesn't matter where you come from. And that was the kind of thing, like, about our elementary school, which I really found endearing about, which is kind of like getting lost, like you mentioned.
Clearly, if you're in a neighborhood that has a large Asian population, then the schools are going to be very Asian populated, right? That's not like an agenda. That's not like someone trying to pack the schools or anything. If Asian people live in a neighborhood, then Asian people are going to go to school in that neighborhood, right? That's just clear math.
Yeah.
I'm trying to say that, like, if you're in a school with all Asian people, what happens then when you leave this town, when you leave this environment, when you go to other places around the world, if you go to school in a different state, in a different fucking country, or to the middle of the US, then now it's kind of like a bit of reverse culture shock, right?
Oh, yeah, dude. Yeah, you're dealing with these fucking new terminologies. Yeah, that's a good way of putting it, man.
Because now you're in like the middle of the country and it's a bunch of Caucasian people.
Yeah.
And now you feel weird.
Yeah.
Because maybe you're not used to like that
that environment where you're used to seeing a certain thing.
Right.
Now you're not. Fuck, what was I going to say? Oh, now I remember. I was going to just mention about how you asked if it's a bad thing. I kind of do see what you're saying, but like I said, it's really hard for me to pinpoint it because I think when we were growing up, we had a good balance of it.
Yeah.
And now we see the other side of it where it's just the extreme.
Yeah.
Where like now it's just super Asian.
Well, the other good thing is being in New York City, even if you are in a neighborhood that is extremely whatever that minority group is, you can very easily go to any other borough and just get a little bit of all the other cultures, right?
Yeah.
It's like you can visit parts of Brooklyn and be like very hipster. You can visit parts of Manhattan, parts of the Bronx. Don't go to Staten Island, but if you... I'm just trying to say, like, you can still get that osmosis of other cultures by quickly visiting other places. You're not really landlocked to like Flushing, right?
Yeah.
It's a fucking, you can go travel elsewhere and it's okay and you get much exposure to that. That is the brilliance of living in New York, not just as an Asian person, but just as a fucking human being.
Right.
Because nothing will ever shock you when you go out to the rest of the world, right? People of different cultures, you've most likely bumped into them either on the subway, at a restaurant. You've tried different cuisines in your city, in New York City, that now when you go to like these other countries, maybe you haven't had an authentic version of that, but you've had an introductory version of that food.
Yep. I think that's kind of the reason why people relate to us, to our podcast so much, maybe. I was thinking about that, like...
You say this as someone's gonna have a comment for that. Anyways, go.
Yeah, they definitely want. They're like, oh, not really. But I do think that's kind of what it is. We're like a good smorgasbord of like what it means to be a representation of a culture, you know, even though that's still fucking up in the air. I think that's why a lot of people try to like relate to us or find us interesting enough to be like, oh shit, these guys seem very legit in their, you know, personal experiences of growing up. You know, this might be the closest thing. We're almost like a case study, you know, like a sociological like case study.
I love how you try to put a sophisticated spin around two dumbasses just screaming at each other back and forth.
That's right. We are gonna be...
No. I'm very self-aware. We're just two obnoxious people screaming at each other on the internet. We're like two monkeys in a cage at the zoo. And then the listeners are like, oh, look at them. They're throwing shit at each other. Anyways, can you picture yourself growing up not in New York City?
Yo, you know what's funny?
If you can somehow turn back time and like, can you even imagine what kind of person you would be if you did not grow up here?
Yeah. Isn't that like the case with everyone? Almost everyone always says like, oh, like everyone, any person from any of their borough, people that are from the Bronx, from Manhattan, from, you know, Brooklyn, they'll be like, no, man, Brooklyn or wherever, Long Island even, they'll be like, no, that's home. It's crazy because like, as I've gotten older, I feel like, damn, I'm really, really, really glad I was born and raised in Queens.
As opposed to the other boroughs?
Yeah. I'm not gonna lie. I don't know if that's our, you know, that's just how it's always been, like a true New Yorker.
I'm sure people in Staten Island will like fight tooth and nail for their island. Right?
I have a friend, and she's probably the only one. Actually, I have two, but then this one's closer. She's from Staten Island, born and raised.
Yeah.
I'm not like, it's pretty lit, but at the same time, I'm like, nah, fuck this place. XC, shout out to XC.
Oh, God.
Yeah, it's dope. Everyone's back chill, but fuck that place.
No one's defending. No one's defending Staten Island. Not even people from Staten Island.
That's right, son. Let's go, bro.
It's fucking crazy. Do you think if you had kids, would you choose to raise them in Queens, New York City, or outside? Like, just keep shrinking down the locations. Where can you picture your kids growing up?
You know what's funny? It's weird because like a thing that me and Lingjie have in common is that our love for Hawaii.
Oh fuck! Okay, guys. I don't know.
Shit, am I segue? My bad.
I don't know when this episode is coming out, but I failed to say this on the last recording.
I know what you want to say. Yes.
I want to give a quick shout out and our hearts and our thoughts and our condolences to the people, the residents of Maui.
Yeah,
it is an absolute shit show right there, and I don't know what are the good resources for you, the listeners, and for the world in general, just to like help out with that shit.
Yeah, that's a good point.
But I would try to see if I can gather a bunch of
links,
non-for-profits or whatever. At the very least, just like keep those people in your thoughts because it is an absolute shit show. It is. I've been to that island. I've been at that tree. I've had ice cream on Front Street. I've been in that exact town. So to see a place that is so beautiful and has such amazing people, like the islands of Hawaii in general have amazing people. But my times that I've spent in Maui, dude, you look up at the fucking sky, it feels like you're flying in space, right? We don't have that here in New York City.
No.
We don't have that hospitality of Maui residents and native Hawaiian people. It's okay. So like, I just want to say our thoughts to the people in Maui.
Yeah, thoughts and prayers. It's pretty bad. I try to look into what caused it, but no matter what, it fucking sucks.
Yeah, regardless of how it started, you know, do you have to think about like what is the post-fire recovery plan? You know,
unfortunately
it's tough. It's tough because there is people in Maui that will advocate for not coming to the island right now on vacation, which I completely understand. Because if you're a resident of the island and you had a family member that was affected by it, why the fuck would you want a bunch of tourists coming onto your island right now? It's like, dude, leave us alone right now. Let us recover in peace. Yeah. And there's limited resources on the island that tourism can't take those resources away.
And it sucks because they rely on tourism.
Right. That's the other half of the argument, right? Yeah. The people that are arguing for tourism to continue, but just not directly in that affected area, will argue for the fact that their lifeblood is tourism. Because I think
it's true.
Hawaii, 4 out of every $5 generated on the island is from tourism.
I mean, I believe you. When COVID was happening, they were talking about how devastating it was to the Hawaiian economy.
Of course. Rely strictly on tourism.
Yeah, tourism, the hotels, the restaurants, the hospitality life, travel agencies.
Yeah.
The airlines. It drastically affected Hawaii's economy to the point where they were really, really worried.
Yeah, so there is no good answer. Send as much love and as much charitable donations as you can to reputable places
do your research about this.
Do your research. Don't just send money anywhere random. And at the same time, the argument that should you go to the island, should you not go to the island right now, it's a tough one because I can see both sides of the argument for those.
Yeah.
Just imagine you're someone like on the southwest side or something, right? And you have like a hotel or something, and now you're losing money. But just imagine you're the other person that's on Front Street and you lost your house and you have family members affected. You don't want that. I don't know what the good answer is. Maybe just like don't visit now, visit soon, but spend double the amount. I don't know. Like whatever.
Or if you can, just go to a different island, but then still make some real contributions, like donations to reputable organizations. That's what you could do. If you really really want to go balls deep, fucking go there and like just try to help clean up. Then maybe do volunteer work if you really want to go like out your way. But
if that's a good option,
But you're on vacation. I don't even think that's the thing. But if that's where your heart is set, please by all means. Me and Lingjie, the interesting is that we both. Another thing we have in common is our love for Hawaii. Going back to what you're saying about raising a family, I don't know, but it's weird. Hawaii is the only place where I can see myself like moving away out of Queens. It's weird.
Not gonna lie, because the Hawaiian culture that we see is an amalgamation of native Hawaiians and then all the people that came to settle and then all the people from like East Asia that came overseas.
Yeah,
it is in many ways very similar to the melting pot that we have here in Queens, where it's that culture is based on so many other cultures in addition to their native Hawaiian culture.
Yep. I will admit, I do think that we are biased because when we go to Hawaii, it is obviously very, very Asian. Like there's nothing around it. It's predominantly Asian, but it's like still U.S. U.S. state.
Yeah, it's super Asian. Like sometimes when I remember my first time going there, I was like, how in New York sometimes some menus will have 2 languages. It'll be in Spanish. It'll be Spanish and English.
Yeah.
There's some restaurants in Hawaii where it's the 2 languages are English and then Japanese.
Oh shit! Okay.
So the same menu, it comes in like bilingual English and Japanese because obviously they get a lot of Japanese tourists that fly over to Hawaii.
Yeah. So going back to that, I do think there is like a funny, common line there. Why we love Queens, but also like we have this love for Hawaii as well. Because you go there, it's like it's like us, but the great thing also is that they're Asian, but they speak English. And I'm like, thank God.
Okay.
Because like for me, I'm like, thank God. This is like
because your Korean sucks.
My Korean is trash. So it's like okay, but the dollar works here, which is amazing. So
the dollar works here. It's another state, so obviously the dollar.
No, that's what I'm saying. It feels so fucking exotic and beautiful, and then it's like like we're city boys. And then like the fact that we can still appreciate something as majestic as fucking Hawaii.
Yeah, but they also have like their big cities as well at the same time, right? So you can but you can quickly drive from a big city out to like, I'm now in the middle of nowhere and it's fucking beautiful as fuck.
Yeah, yeah. It's like, oh shit, look at this water. This water is fucking. It's just fucking beautiful.
It doesn't have needles floating around inside.
Yeah. Oh, there's no broken glass. That's amazing.
My son can play in the sand without cutting his arms.
Yeah, man. So I guess
you can or you can't picture.
I could still see myself being here in Queens
with the family. I mean,
with the family. Yeah.
Would you rather raise your family here in New York City?
If I can afford it, dude. That's the real truth, bro. If I can fucking afford it, absolutely. But I don't know. We got to see how shit goes. But I would love to
marry someone rich.
Yeah.
Need to find that poet.
No.
Hey guys, if we have any rich listeners that are single women that would like to.
Lingjie's playing the matchmaker right now.
I know some of you listening are thirsty for Ben. Some of you. This is going to target specifically you.
Thank you.
A couple quick questions about being Asian and living in New York.
Okay.
If you are the type of Asian that wants to date within your culture, let's not talk about what's good or bad, but that's your personal choice to do so, right?
All right.
If you want to date other Asian people as an Asian in New York, do you think it's easy to do so?
Oh, hell fucking yeah, bro. This is the thing. Asian people, when it comes to dating, they're terrible at it.
Generally speaking.
Generally speaking.
Are you talking about Asian men like yourself?
Yes. I don't have a problem with it. I'm not, I think people kind of figured that I'm not very shy.
Yeah.
I don't want to say confident. Maybe I'm just dumb. So I'm just, ignorance is bliss. I remember I had this one woman. She was Latina, very beautiful lady. And she just asked, like, can I ask you something? Mind you, picture Sofia Vergara from Modern Family.
Oh,
like in that
funny.
accent.
Yeah.
She had that thick accent. Beautiful as well. She kind of looked like her. But she asked, she's like, why do you Asian men not like Latinas? So I said, the reason why Asian men tend to gravitate towards just dating within their, realm, I guess, of Asian women is because it's within proximity, right? It's like most of the time it's like a friend of a friend. Like you really don't see Asian men go up to like random chicks at the bar. But hey, I just noticed you over here. Can I get you a drink? Guys don't do that.
Okay, so if your friends tend to be generally Asian and you date within your friend circle or friends of friends or that's how you introduce to them, then just by default.
By default, exactly. So flushing by default is fucking great if that's their dating style.
Right.
I mean, technically you and your lady too, right?
Yeah.
By proximity
By
as
proximity.
well.
I think there was like a scientific study where they were trying to figure out what is like, how do you match two people up together and what attributes of their characteristics like make for a good couple.
Oh, like, okay, yes.
Whether it's height, attractiveness, education, money, whatever.
Okay.
The only real thing they could scientifically prove was just proximity. Like the only reason why you're gonna be more likely to end up with X person or Y person is who are you more closer? Who do you live closer to? Sounds like a very simplistic, stupid thing to say. But they were trying to figure out, maybe it's age, maybe it's like education, maybe it's like family structure.
Career, some shit.
No. You are simply closer to this person physically by proximity, location-wise. So you're more likely to be with them, which I guess kind of makes sense. If you live in New York City, just by that theory alone, maybe you're bound to date more Asian people. But there also, if you want to date more Asian people and you're an Asian person and that's your choice or preference, then clearly here it is, right?
Yeah. Flushing is a perfect place for you, man.
Yeah. So good for you if you're a single Asian male. Okay, what other random questions that I have?
Did you want to name like certain cities or where would you not want to live if you're an Asian American?
Where would you not want to live?
Wasn't that a thing?
Yeah, that was.
Do you think that's a little like too loaded?
It is.
We might offend.
It is quite loaded. Okay, for me, I would say, and this is not a race thing, but Ben's laughing because I'm laying foundations.
Yes.
I'm just trying to say I can't picture myself living in a small town. That's regardless of race.
I see.
I just can't do it. It just so happens that these small towns are very Caucasian. But I'm just trying to say,
Asian.
I'm a city boy, like you said. I prefer to be around things. That's why I always joke with my wife when our kid is old enough and we don't need this mansion of a palace that we live in.
Oh, right. Well, I don't have to take. Yeah, I could live in Lingjie's one of his floors.
So when we don't need this space, I would like to just live in like a small condo. But do you know where that condo needs to be? In the middle of Flushing, Queens.
Look at that.
In the middle of Main Street. Because
that makes sense.
I want access to like all the amenities of being in that.
Yeah.
I just don't want to like shovel snow and shit or like
if it's one thing I know about you, every time in a group chat, you always bitch about that.
Shoveling the fucking snow.
The winter, man.
Yo, shout out to my brother-in-law. I'm not sure if he's listening, but once he swaps places with my mother-in-law, I no longer have to shovel the house. That's one less place that I have to shovel.
You get to retire from there.
Sometimes I would have to drive over to my mother-in-law's house, which I do it because I want to, but it's also tiring to shovel one more house.
Oh yeah, I can imagine.
That'll be completely his responsibility.
Yeah, I would never understand the struggles of that, but
because you live in an apartment your entire
yes,
thing.
but I do.
Do you think? I guess this is not a real question, but if you're Asian and in New York, would you rather live in a house or in a condo?
Dude, I'm the same thing with you. Condos all day.
Condos all the way, right?
All the fucking way.
Right, because if you want to live in the house, move out to like the suburbs.
Yes.
Move out to the suburbs. You get more bang for your buck in terms of actual grass on your feet.
Yeah.
And, like if you live in the boroughs, I think it's more, it makes more sense to live in a condo.
Yeah.
Because it usually puts you closer to the heart of whatever borough that you're in.
Yeah.
And you spend less time like doing house maintenance that you can actually spend more time enjoying the actual cities.
That's the main reason why Lingjie's like, houses are a scam. It's not worth it. I'm about to do the Trump thing. Houses are scams. Don't buy homes. Condos are the way. It's true though.
By the way, I sell real estate for a living. It's a go.
Buy me on Discord. But it's true though, right? Everything you just said, mainly it's the fucking upkeep. You know, you're just like,
it's the upkeep.
Did you just fucking power wash like cement?
I spent half of my day yesterday power washing my cement around the house because they got dirty as shit over the years, right?
Don't get me wrong. I was like, oh, there's a big ass difference. But at the same time, I'm like, thank God I don't have to do that.
God. Plus, you know, like we said, it's expensive to live in fucking New York City. So you probably can't afford a house in New York City anyway. So you might as well just get like a 200 square foot studio apartment wherever you are, and you'll be fine. If you have a family, then move out to like the suburbs, or like find some tweener place where it's just far enough but also close enough, you know, like what I did. Hopefully that makes it a little bit easier. Let me see if I have any other random tidbits about growing up here in New York City. Would you recommend someone else that does not live in New York City, like let's say around our age, in 20s and their 30s, to move to New York City? Let's say they're single. Let's do two different scenarios, one with the family, one with the single. You'll speak about advising a single Asian person whether or not they should move here to New York. I'll advise a family. That's a past tense verb. A family Asian person whether or not they should move here. You go for the single. Speak.
I think for most part, the experience, you should at least try to come here. It's the greatest city, and you know, whether it's a year, even if it's a visiting family members, if you can stay here and you're just visiting family,
like for the summer maybe.
Right, yeah, dude, it's absolutely worth it. And for most part, I have to say, I've met a lot of people, especially in my field of work, that are from, you know, other countries, right? Very far away. And they come here and they're just like, wow, they still have that starry look in their eyes.
Right. And that's especially great when you are single because you can really selfishly focus on your own entertainment and your own enjoyment of the city.
Yeah.
And New York, the 5 boroughs, has so much to offer for a single person.
Yes.
I'm not just talking about dating. I'm saying like just to experience different things because there are some things you can't do with the family.
It's crazy just like thinking about like how we still have like one of the best programs. If you want to be a doctor, New York City is great for it. If you want to become,
that's true.
If you want to become a world-renowned,
poet,
poet or musician,
Juilliard.
The Juilliard, like, you know, for dance, you still come here. You know, Alvin Ailey School of Dance. It's still like you still come here, like for all that kind of stuff.
Right. So if you're young and you're pursuing some kind of passion, this is the place to make it. It's like people that want to pursue acting in their career.
Exactly.
It's either West Coast California or New York City.
And that's the crazy thing about where we live.
Is there like an age limit you would say if you're single when you should stop or not?
I think if you're like in your, I mean, it depends. Like if you're in your, what's up?
Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm married, right? But I would say
I hope so.
If you are single, regardless of your age, if your objective is to still find a long-term partner, it probably makes sense at any age to move to New York City because you will meet, or at least you have the opportunity to meet more people.
I think if you're a male, you definitely have more options. And if you're being serious about looking for a partner, then yes, New York City would actually be a good viable option.
Good.
I think if you're a female and you're a little older, the market for you might be really competitive depending on your career choice, where you live, like proximity, like you mentioned. It might be a little more difficult because it's just so fast paced that you might not have enough time.
That's true. It's tough. Once again, it's one of those things where it's always shittier to be the female. It always sucks more. It's not fair. It's not fair to the female people.
It is. Yeah, you're right. So
as far as like a family, I would say, sorry to cut you off.
No, that's fine. Go.
Like as far as a family is concerned, I would say it's really tough because if you want to raise a family here, maybe coming to New York City as a couple and then finding where you like.
Yeah.
That might make sense. But like if you already have kids that are out of your womb, that are walking on their own, it's difficult because
like also, is there a max capacity? Like I think you can't have 3 kids and you try to live in the city. That's like that's tough.
The closer you are to Manhattan, so even if you're in the boroughs, but on the parts that are closer to Manhattan.
Gotcha.
I swear that there must be some kind of scientific study because it's like single, couple, 1 kid. The further out,
3 kids.
The further out you go, you're more likely to have a bigger family.
Yes,
it's just one of those things. I would say if you're a family and you want to move here, you have to do it when your kids are young enough so they can assimilate to all of this.
Yeah.
But at that same time, when you come here, you should also probably not. Actually, you know what? If you're really rich, you can probably.
That's what I was saying. It all just depends if you're fucking loaded or not, dude.
If you're really rich and you want to get enough of this Asian culture or just the diverse minority cultures and all the different cultures here, then maybe living close to Manhattan and like, or like the other boroughs but closer to Manhattan makes sense.
Yeah.
If you're a regular person, find like some kind of tweener area, like where I am right now, or like maybe like Bayside, Queens, you know, something like that.
I keep thinking about Bayside for some reason. Little Neck.
It's still in Queens. It's suburban enough that you can afford to get
right
a decent house.
It's a border, yeah.
But you're also really close to like going into Flushing, Queens, and then just the one train away from going to Manhattan, right?
Yeah.
I think that's probably the best way to do it because you want to give your kids like access to grass and fresh air and shit like that.
It's like we're cattle. I was like, yeah, you know, you want to make sure with your cattle, you know, you're giving them enough grass. Are there clouds? This cloud's perfect. Then you're good. If they can see some trees once in a while, you know, not everything is the sidewalk. Yeah.
Getting on to a favorite part of the whole podcast. This is ranting and raving, where Ben and I like to bitch about something, or Ben and I like to compliment something.
Yes.
Ben, please keep it a little bit tight. What do you have to bitch about today?
When I had my stay in Miami, I noticed how much cheaper the Ubers were.
Really?
Dude.
Like how much cheaper? Like 50%, whatever percent?
I can make a case that's like almost like 60 to 70% cheaper.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Why is that the case? Are there more drivers?
It's just because everything is so, like, you have to drive. Like, I don't know what it is, actually. That's a really good question, but I just remember there were so many times where we're taking Ubers that it was like 5 of us, right? 10-minute ride, right? That's like $20. Easy, especially if you're in the city. Doesn't matter actually which borough you are. In Miami, it's less than $10. It was like $7, $8. I'm like, what?
So you didn't even rent the car, you just Ubered around everywhere?
It was so much cheaper. Like, we actually did the math and the amount of trips that we stayed with the amount of people we had. And this is including tip as well. It was so much cheaper.
Huh.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Do you need to tip more then? You know how sometimes when you go to like a restaurant, let's say you go to a restaurant and you get something really, really cheap and the bill is like maybe $10.
Yeah.
But you've sat down, you've like, you know.
It's kind of like when we go to a restaurant, maybe like I'll take care of you guys. I'll give you a great discount, but you guys make up for it by putting more tip.
Right, because the amount of service and the time that the waiter has dedicated to you, regardless if you're getting like a $10 bill or a $100 bill, it's pretty much the same on their end. So theoretically, they should get tipped for.
I do make an effort to always remind, you know, like we got to tip them, you know. So I think personally for me, because it felt so much cheaper, I'm like, oh,
you tip more.
I'm just gonna tip more. I'm like, yo, 30% all the time for you guys. This was amazing. So yeah,
like your whole car was like on fire. It smelled like smoke. 30%.
30%, bro. You mean I got here in 5 minutes? 30%. But yeah, dude, it's so much cheaper. I forgot how much cheaper Ubers are there. I mean, maybe in other parts of the cities. But yeah, that's my little. Is that a rant, or I guess it was more of a rave?
Rave.
Yeah.
See, guys, we bring positivity every once in a while.
Yeah, that's the one thing that's not expensive is the Ubers.
When it relates to saving money, we'll be very positive.
Yeah, Uber. It pays to do Uber.
Okay, Ben, you and I are probably like very sociable people.
Okay.
I mean, we have a podcast. We talk a lot, but have you ever been at some event and someone else is much more sociable than you? And this could be could be regardless if you're already sociable or you're just a quiet, timid person, but sometimes you're at an event, regardless of what level of social ability you are or what level you like talking.
Extrovertness, maybe?
Right. There's always going to be someone that talks more than you.
Yeah.
Even as an extroverted person myself.
Oh, okay.
When I meet those people, I'm like, holy shit, do other people feel like this when they talk to me?
Oh, I see what you mean.
So it's like
Did you feel exhausted?
I felt exhausted because
that was my next question.
I think I talk a lot, but meeting someone that talks more than me, it makes me not want to talk as much anymore. Because I feel like maybe I am overpowering other people when I talk with them.
I don't know. That's a really good deep question, but I think we're like maybe I'm just being biased. I think we're a good balance of it.
We think we're a good balance, but
imagine
you meet someone else that's much more talkative. They're much more aggressive, not in a negative way, but they just like talking more than you do and ask more questions, more follow-up questions, more engaging questions.
Yeah.
I feel exhausted.
I've had this one person, but he was just blabbering because he was just drunk.
Oh, that's different. Drunk talk is different, yeah.
Yeah, so I had this one person. He was just, it got to a point where I had to tell my other friend, like, yo, I think I might actually leave because the person just kept talking about themselves. And I was just like, I don't think this is even a conversation. This is just like a lecture.
Or it's like a therapy session for them.
Yeah, so I'm like, oh man, like I'm appreciative of you opening up to me, But I'm like, wow, this is like not even enjoyable.
Guys, you should always have a exit strategy whenever you go to these events, right?
Yeah, or just Irish exit, baby.
All right, guys, we're at the outro. Thank you. Great episode today.
Oh, nice.
Once again, our love, our thoughts, everything that we can give out to the people, out to the residents of the island of Maui right now. So it's a tough situation. I don't know when this episode is coming out. So hopefully by the time this comes out, they'll be in a better situation than where they are right now in real time for us.
Yeah.
Ben, do you want to go through all the plugs and everything while I look up my next Asian dad joke?
Thank you. I was just going to say, like, please, I hope you didn't, I need that joke. I just want to start off by saying what, piggybacking what Lingjie said, it fucking sucks. I hope, our today's episode was able to lift your spirits. That's the most important thing. Hope you learned something. We are in the middle of a triple header today. I think we're doing pretty good so far. It's pretty solid. And, we can only do this without your support. Wait, with your support? I take that back. You can find us on all our social media plugs, on Instagram, Worst Asian Pod. You can find us on Rumble, Snapchat, YouTube.
You can find us in Flushing, Queens.
You can find us in Flushing, Queens.
Somewhere.
Yeah.
Hey, guys, if you actually see Ben and I somewhere, this is probably not going to happen because we're not that famous. If you actually do see us, aside from like if we're with family or doing something kind of crazy.
Yeah, leave me alone.
Say hi. Come say hi.
Yeah, leave me alone.
Okay, guys. We do appreciate it.
Yeah.
This is good therapy for the both of us. So hopefully you guys have a good time listening to us. Hopefully you'll tune in next week. Hopefully subscribe. Hopefully do a lot of different things. But hopefully
move to Queens.
Yeah, come to Queens. Great place to be. I will wrap up this thing with a Asian dad joke. Do you want the one that's maybe a little bit inappropriate?
Or what's the other one then?
Or do you want the one that may take you a second to process the joke?
Ooh, that's a good one. It's up to you. I don't care.
Okay. What is the name of an Asian guy holding a camcorder? Phil Ming.
Oh my God. All right, that was a good one.
I'll save the inappropriate one for next week, okay?
So
remind me that you want to hear the inappropriate Asian dad joke next week.
Fine.
All right, guys, stay safe. Take it easy now.
Yeah, thank you guys so much. All right.
Bye.
Peace.
Adios.
Thank you.